Hello. Okay, good. Okay, so let's start it. So my project is about access tokens, implementing access tokens in Spectre's REST API. Spectre REST API had basic authentication, and my the project was to implement the token-based authentication to access the Spectre's REST API. So that was it. So I will just tell you what is the basic structure of it. So there is a JWT token that I'm creating, that the user is creating, and the JWT token has basically five fields, which is description, public ID, expiry status, and remaining expiry time. So basically, what is this? Is basically expiry description is for basically why the token is created by the user. Let's say for some task A. Public ID is basically the ID generated by UUID, and it is random. Expiry time is basically the time which is set by the user. Let's say I created a token for 60. I want to create the token for 60 minutes, so the 60 minutes is going to store it will get to be stored in the payload of the JW token. And remaining expiry time is basically the time which is then calculated after every request you pass to the token in order to check if the token uh, how long the token is going to be alive. Let's say I have set the token time to 30 days and I open it after 7 after a week. It will show me that the token time remaining is basically 23 days, and the expiry status will just show the status is basically if the token is valid or expired. Okay. Now, the way I'm storing the token is basically in the form of hash map, which a nested hash map. There's a parent parent key which is JW tokens, and in that I have a JW token ID, and in that I have fields which are JW token description, and JW token lines. So let's get to the implementation part of it. Okay, so what I did is basically generally JWT token is passed to the user manager of Spectre, and it is verified. And after the user is verified, it gets the user. And if the user is not verified, if the user is not verified due to the token error or something like that, it gives me 401 error. Okay, so let's this was the basic workflow of it, and let's hop on to the implementation part of it. This is the users.json file for me. So initially, there's an attribute for user which is JW tokens, which is basically a null hash map currently. Now there is a route called as slash API slash v1 alpha slash token, and this is the post request. And in body, the authorization over here is basic authorization, and the body over here is something called as I want to create a token. Reason description of that token is some description, and token life is just let's say 6 minutes. I want it for 6 minutes. When I send that, the token gets created. So the message is token generated, and when I refresh my users.json, it will store the token over here. Okay, and one more thing about this is that might have noticed that in JW token life, I have passing the string of 6 minutes, but over here you can see that it is converted to 6 seconds. I have done it using the time parser. Just give me a second here. So this is a pi time parser I'm using over here. So what it does is it basically converts all the strings into seconds. So I have done it in order to give the flexibility to the user. Let's say user wants to store the token for 6 days, six 60 minutes, or something like that. So just to give the user more flexibility. Let's say I generate the token again. The I have added the uh, uh, description check as well, which made much more sense to add a description check because there might not be the two tokens for same description. So user needs to create the different description in order to create the different tokens. So let's say I create a token A, and this time I want the token to be for 6 seconds. Okay. Now when I just send the request, it will just get created and this token will be stored like this. Okay. And now again, if I just create the token C, and this time I will for 60 minutes or let's say 6 hours. And now when I just send the request, It just converts the time into seconds and it gets stored. Okay. Now there is one more endpoint called as get endpoint. Let's say user wants to get all the tokens he needs, all the tokens he wants. So what he can do is he can just send the get request by it, and it will show all the time, all the tokens that he have created. Okay. Now let's say I want to access particular tokens by it. So there is another endpoint, uh, which can be accessed basically by putting the iterating the token ID in front of the token endpoint over here. Now, when I just get send a request for that this particular token, which is basically the token of some description, it shows me that overall details like the expiry status. It is still valid. The remaining time is this much. The token life was this when the token was created. Now, let's say I check for this token, which I think might be expired till now, and I just send the request. It will show me the expiry status is expired. The token life remaining is zero. The token the token life when we created it was 6 seconds. Let's say now user I as a user saw it and decide need to delete it. I don't want this token. Okay, so I just go on the delete route option, delete request option, and I just delete it. So the token gets deleted. Okay, and similarly. These are the routes for get and delete. Now, there is one more thing. So these are the routes of basic token creation. Now, let's say uh, uh, I have created the resources for it. The Spectre currently has secure resource and admin resource. So what earlier Spectre had uh, basic authentication for both of these resources. Now my project I implemented the token authentication resource for both token authentication in both of these resources. Let's say I try to access an endpoint which is which is part of secure resource, and that endpoint might be something like resource PSBT or something like that. So okay, I'll just check the route over here. I will try to access my wallet over here. Okay. Now my endpoint of this over here is this, and now okay, and my wallet is yeah. So if I just send the request over here, so it will show me that the user server could not verify that you're authorized. The reason is the authorization over here is basic, and I don't need basic authorization. I need a token-based authorization. So in order to access this route, I need to provide a token over here. So let's say I am providing a token which is still valid. Let's say this token is valid. Okay. Now when I provide this token and I send the request, okay, just wait a second over here. I'll just try for another endpoint over here. So just wait a second. Let's say I create a new token and then access it. Inspector. It's our authorization will be basic. Okay. Let's say I use this token. Can you pause the recording for a second? Okay, got it, got it. The method was posted. Okay. Now Yep. So sorry for the wrong method. It was the post method, so I got an error. So for this, so, as soon as I added the token for it, and since it was better token authentication, I got the resource, which is your admin resource, and I can't access it with the basic authorization. Similarly, it goes for another endpoints as well. Let's say I go for access my wallet, let's say, and when I try to do this, it will not happen. But when I switch it to token authorization, it will give me my wallet details. So yeah, this is it. So this is uh, what is the end result of it? Uh, this will eventually help us improve the security of our API as well as try, improve the user improve the user functionality and endpoint functionality as well. Like, let's say I want two or three endpoints to be super private for me, and but other two are they are just general. I just want to show them when the user is logged in. So for that two or three endpoints, I can just implement token authorization, and I will uh, say user like, hey user, in order to access endpoint, let's say a PSBT, you need to create a token, and then only you can access that endpoint. Yeah.
Great.
So this was, yeah, this was the project for me. And yep, so for more details, I've written a blog over here. So I'll paste the link in the chat. And yep, that's it.
Cool. Thank you very much. Do we have any questions from the audience? No? Well, then I'll stop the recording.